Hey, welcome back to the FitLife Formula podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Brian Sipitz. I'm the founder of Advantage Strength in Ann Arbor. I'm going to be your host for the show. Today on episode 3, it's just going to be me. We have no special guests today, but I'm going to be talking about the very first component, the most important component of the FitLife Formula. So what we're going to do over the next couple episodes here is take you through what the FitLife Formula actually is and go through the reasons why these parts or these components are important to have as a part of a lifestyle that's going to keep you fit, keep you healthy, keep you moving all the way through your retirement years and, helping you feel good all the way through those years. And selfishly, this is kind of a pursuit of mine as a former athlete. Moving is a part of my life and, a really important thing that I'm always going to try to do, just be fit and keep moving and, maintain that kind of health. But I do know that as you get older, that gets to be a little bit tougher. So the FitLife Formula podcast is really dedicated to the members of Advantage Strength, for one. We love our community here and, want to bring you the best possible information. But also, if you're not a member of Advantage Strength and Conditioning, you're also going to get a ton of value out of the show. So make sure you subscribe, and as we go through here, we'd love some ratings. Tell us what you think of the show. That helps us get to more people and help more people with this information. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as we close. We'd love to hear some ratings from you guys, but definitely subscribe to the show so you get every single new show coming right to your podcast feed. All right, so now that we've got through that, let's go ahead and settle into our topic for the day. We're going to be talking about one aspect of the FitLife Formula that I think is most important, and it's also something that's going to keep you enjoying movement for the rest of your life, and that's sort of the key, is that consistent movement and ability to move and all those good things that are going to help you stay healthy, happy, and moving well through your whole life. So if you remember, the FitLife Formula is 3 days a week of something you enjoy, which is what we're going to be talking about today. 2 days a week of strength training, and 1 day a week of a workout that just sucks, something that you don't look forward to, something that's really hard, maybe challenging for you to do. And so that's 1 day a week we're going to do a workout like that. So that's about 6 days. The remaining day you can throw in whatever you want. But the FitLife Formula is 3-2-1, 3 days with something you like, 2 days of strength training, and 1 day that just sucks each week. So today we're going to talk about why include something that you enjoy 3 times a week. I think the overarching view of fitness is that, number one, it's done in a gym. You have to go to classes. You have to wear sweat-wicking clothing. You have to get sore. You have to do all these other things that are, for some people, really unpleasant. But it turns out it's not that way. And we need to look for other opportunities to move and build it into our life and make it a part of our life so that, number one, you're going to be healthier, right? So we'll talk about sort of what constitutes exercise, what should we be looking for in terms of things that we enjoy. So you're going to be healthier, you're going to be happier. There's tons of benefits that go along with exercise, and we'll talk more about that in future episodes. But today we're talking about just doing things that you enjoy. You'll have less stress, you might sleep better, you'll have a sense of freedom that you get to choose. And so a lot of times I think people are afraid to start a fitness routine because they don't necessarily enjoy lifting weights, or they don't really like the class setting, whatever it might be. But we're going to learn by doing something that you enjoy 3 times a week, you have a full choice of what to do. And it turns exercise from something that you have to go do to something that you get to do. And this perspective is something that I learned from Ari at Zingerman's, Ari Weinswag, who talks about that, and he talks about it in his books, and he says, he's basically taken that term out of his vocabulary. I have to do this. I have to go to work today. Instead of saying that, which has sort of a negative connotation, and you can make that parallel with your fitness routine. I have to go to the gym, or I have to get running or jogging, whatever it might be. So Ari has taken that out and basically just replaced it with, either I get to go to work today, or just saying I am going to work today. And so what that does is it takes that negative connotation out of the mix and just makes it more like something you have full freedom to do, and something that you're doing by choice. And so that's really important, is when you're doing something that you enjoy, most of the time you're not saying like, oh, I have to go garden. And if gardening is something you enjoy, you're very rarely going to say that. And so when we talk about activities that you enjoy, there's a couple caveats there. If we're going to plug this into a FitLife formula, we need to make sure that it is something that's going to be considered exercise, something that you're going to get benefit from. And so if something you enjoy is sitting on the couch and watching, the final episodes of Game of Thrones, unfortunately, that's not going to count in terms of, activity that you enjoy. So 2 things that we want to look for when you're thinking of the 3 days a week that you want to plan something that you enjoy doing. Number 1, something that gets your heart rate up, elevated past, what it might be if you were just sitting or even just walking around at work. So that's number 1. It has to get your heart rate up. Number 2, something that takes you through big ranges of motion. And that might not seem as intuitive. I think getting your heart rate up is typically understood as exercise. But something that takes you through big ranges of motion is something different altogether, because, as humans, we have certain ranges of motion that we can go through. Our joints are built in certain ways. But the thing is, if you stop using those ranges of motion, then your body takes them back, right? So if we're constantly doing things that take you through those big ranges of motion, your body will keep them. And so if you're always only doing something that elevates your heart rate, like let's say you love indoor cycling or jogging, that's a pretty limited range of motion. And so if that's all you're doing, if you really enjoy it and that's all you're doing, you are going to get the heart benefits. But in terms of what your body is going to be able to do, you're going to be pretty limited. I know marathon runners who've run multiple marathons who aren't able to either get up and down off the floor without struggle, or bend over and touch their shoelaces with straight legs. So mobility is a huge part of keeping your freedom, keeping your independence and your happiness as you get older. So we want to make sure that when you're picking things to do as part of your 3 days a week of something you enjoy, make sure it's something that, number 1, is going to elevate your heart rate, and number 2 is going to take you through big ranges of motion. And if you don't have both of those in each workout, then make sure you're alternating or you're switching throughout the week. And so just kind of a quick list here of stuff that you could consider as, your exercise or something that you enjoy. It might be like jogging, yoga, gardening, any sport like soccer or hockey or tennis, or anything that has you out moving out in space. Something like a bike ride, a hike, yard work, dancing, golfing, anything like that gets you out, gets you moving. It's something that you look forward to. The most important thing is that you look forward to it, because that is ultimately what's going to keep you going back. And I think, I don't have specific statistics, but there's millions of them out there about, why diet plans fail and why exercise routines fail. There's the famous, the 2-week, 3-week push at the beginning of the new year at every Globo gym out there. And then, come February, the place is empty again. And so I think the reason that people don't stick with their exercise routines is, there's a lot of reasons, but one of the main ones is that they just simply don't enjoy it. And, I was kind of like looking at this stuff, and there's a report in Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise, the journal, that found that confidence in one's exercise ability had the highest prediction of how much that person will exercise. Well, if you look at what happens when someone starts an exercise routine, if they haven't been exercising, that means that they likely don't have confidence in it. And so when you have low confidence and you're having someone jump into something that they don't enjoy necessarily, it's almost like fighting tooth and nail to keep doing that thing, to continue doing that thing. So if in your exercise routine you're building opportunities to do something you enjoy, it makes it much more likely that you're going to stick with that exercise routine. To use myself as an example here, I'm thinking sort of two ends of the spectrum. There's the person who's never exercised, and then there's, on my end, there's someone who has always exercised. And so you kind of think, I don't exactly know what my motivations are. I haven't dug that deep yet, but I know I do enjoy moving, and it makes me feel better. And I also kind of enjoy, competing still. So I like to find ways to compete that I enjoy, like joining an adult soccer league, or, I play hockey with a group of guys on Tuesday nights. And so that's enough that definitely counts as exercise for me. And it is something that I look forward to. And so those are, two built-in things each week that are considered exercise. And so for me, I enjoy the competitive part of it. And for someone on the other end of the spectrum where they've just never even enjoyed moving around, maybe they enjoy gardening or, something else where you can build in some movement. Gardening can be shockingly hard. If you are, you're squatting down, you're lifting things up, you're standing up, you're constantly up and down, you're digging, you're doing all these other things. So that can be part of an exercise routine, and it doesn't have to be this scripted, on Tuesday, Thursday, I have to do this. So keep that in mind. In the more you enjoy the activities outside the gym, the more you will be able to stick with it, the more you'll be able to keep moving. And actually, you'll find it a lot easier to go to the gym because, when you do your strength training, you might notice that you're getting better at the things you enjoy doing. And so there's that sort of that built-in part of the FitLife formula that is going to keep you going. And one part of this supports another. So if you are, starting to feel stronger, and then you feel like you can maybe garden longer, or you're getting better in your yoga class, or, you're jogging faster or running faster, all those things start to feed themselves, and you get into this confident feeling and enjoyment in what you're doing. And that's what perpetuates a lifetime fitness goal. It's not, to put it in like nutrition terms, it's not the crash diet that gets you where you want to be and gets long-term success. I think that's one of the famous things is that people will diet, and it's, 6 weeks after they're done with their diet, they're right back to where they were. So the goal is to try to put a fitness routine or a program together that you enjoy, that you're willing to do every single week, and not just willing to, but enjoying every single week, so that you can continue doing it for the rest of your life. And then when you'll start feeling odd when you don't get those chances to move. And so then that's when you know that things have flipped. We have members who will say, I didn't come in 4 days in a row, and it feels really weird now. Whereas, any other time in their life, they may not have even thought about going to the gym 4 times a week ever. Like that wouldn't even have been in their vocabulary. So that's the first part of the FitLife formula, and that is, doing 3 days a week of something that you enjoy. Fitness and exercise does not have to be all about intensity. Like it's not all intensity all the time. There is a lot of benefit to that, but it doesn't have to be your entire routine. So think about your list, and hopefully it's more than 3 things long so that you can have some variety from week to week. Or if you enjoy, doing a certain set of things and you enjoy doing that each week, keep doing it. As long as it's, meeting those criteria of getting your heart rate up and also taking you through big ranges of motion. Oh, and here's another thing. When you do something that you enjoy, you have this more sense of ease in your life. And I think with that sense of ease, with that less stress, other good things start to happen. So it's not about all high intensity all the time. It's not a direct correlation between how hard you work and how much weight you lose or how much stronger you get or whatever your goal is. I think people stress about losing weight or whatever it might be. And the more you stress about it, sometimes the more that weight sticks, because when your life is full of stress, you aren't necessarily going to be as healthy as you want to be. So when you build this into your life, it's kind of this de-stressing effect. So you're lowering your stress, you're getting better sleep, you look forward to things, you're happier. And when all of that stuff starts to come together in kind of this funny way where you'd think, wow, I am not working as hard, or this doesn't even seem like work, and I'm accomplishing my goals. And so that's a really big part of this, and probably the most important part is that you're living life with less stress, with more healthy habits, and all of that stuff comes together in the FitLife Formula to sort of lead to the desired outcomes that you have. If you want to lose weight, sometimes working a little less hard, watching what you eat a little bit more, enjoying moving and moving more is kind of a better path to get there than going to these, grinding, super difficult things or workouts that you hate to do and feeling stressed about it. So, a lot of times this is can be the magic bullet. It's like saying, wait a minute, I can just step back and do some things that I enjoy and de-stress a little bit, feel better, and you've maybe saved energy for the strength training workouts or saved energy for the one workout a week that sucks. And, that's how this FitLife Formula is put together. And so keep that in mind as you go forward. That's enough on that today. We're sort of reaching our 20-minute mark here, but I just wanted to share that with you and make sure that you know that workouts don't have to be all hard, all intensity, all the time. You can pick things that you enjoy. In fact, you should pick things that you enjoy. And that's why this is just a little bit deeper explanation as to why this is the biggest component of the FitLife Formula. So I hope you enjoyed the info. If this is something that you're interested in learning more about and you'd like to have a conversation about it, please feel free to email me at Brian, that's Brian, at advantagestrength.com. I'd be happy to jump on the phone with you and talk this out. If you are an Advantage member, make sure you're continuing to, in addition to the strength training piece, in addition to being in here training with us, you're going to be adding this part to your life and getting a ton of benefit from that. Make sure if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe to the FitLife Formula podcast. Once you've heard enough episodes to form your opinion of the show, we'd love it if you would leave us a rating and a review on the show. That's how we share this with other people. So this has been Brian Sipitz for the FitLife Formula podcast, episode 3. Enjoy the rest of your week. Make sure you get out there and do the stuff that you want to do. Get your heart rate up, go through big ranges of motion, and make sure you enjoy every minute of it. We'll talk to you next Tuesday. Have an awesome rest of your week.